On 7 News tonight, quarantine time halved for vaccinated close contacts as Queensland records its highest number of daily COVID cases. The state hits another major vaccination milestone, what it means for international travel. She was wrapping their Christmas presents when police knocked on her door, a brave mum's tribute to her 2 children killed in the Redcliffe plane crash. The bizarre highway heist, how $1 million worth of silver went missing while in transit. The Aussie anthem getting a reboot in a bid to prevent the country's most common cancer. And her final appearance in the yellow skivvy, Emma Wiggle farewells her fans as the new lineup heads to Queensland.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Katrina Blowers.
Good evening. Queensland's COVID numbers are rapidly accelerating, with the state recording 86 cases, a new daily record. On this current trajectory, there'll be thousands of infections in weeks. Isolation times have been halved to prevent staff shortages on the front line.
Cars wrapping around entire blocks, long testing wait times of several hours at sites right around the state.
It's been alright. Sisters are kind of annoying, but you know.
Those stuck in the lengthy lineups include some on holiday, ticking the box for their border pass.
It's all good, it's all worth it.
The rush on clinics comes as Queensland reaches a record with 86 new cases today.
If we double cases every 48 hours, we will expect thousands of cases in January.
75 people are in hospital, but aside one, they're hospitalised for isolation purposes only.
They might be a traveller, for example, so tourist, and we are establishing systems for getting these people out of hospital.
Many are isolating at home, including medical graduates who've come into contact with COVID cases.
It's probably the worst thing you want to hear around this time of year.
Police officers in similar situations, with more being pulled from patrols.
7 police now with COVID, and there is 111 police officers in quarantine.
I think we're going to run into big problems with staffing in terms of the healthcare system and other sectors.
Acknowledging that, the goalposts today shifted. Close contacts of cases previously had to isolate for 14 days. That period has been halved to 7 days.
That will not be reduced if you are unvaccinated.
One policy the state government is holding firm on is the requirement for interstate travellers to be tested 5 days after arrival, even though there's no method of enforcement or any compliance numbers.
All of the measures that we have in place are based on the health advice.
Hundreds are arriving at state borders without their negative test result within 72 hours.
We are seeing people actually flout this at the moment.
But clinics in southern states have huge delays and resemble car parks.
The 72 hours is based on the current experience of the incubation period of the virus.
The nationwide surge on swabs, largely driven by Omicron.
I think the fear is out of proportion to the facts.
National Cabinet convenes for an emergency meeting tomorrow.
And Ben Murphy joins me. Ben, do we know yet how severe Omicron is compared to Delta?
The accepted wisdom is it's too early to say, but there is some promising data coming out of Denmark. Out of 18,000 Omicron cases they've recorded, 0.6% are being admitted to hospital. Compare that to their Delta cases, 136,000 of them, 1.5% of those are being hospitalised, meaning Omicron is sending roughly half the amount of people to hospital. However, it does appear far more contagious than Delta, so if many thousands more get the virus, it could have a similar impact on hospitals, and that is ultimately the concern.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, thank you, Ben. And we have some breaking COVID news. Queensland troops who've been keeping the peace in the Solomon Islands won't have to quarantine when they return home to their families for Christmas. The island nation's last COVID case was back in April. Queensland is weeks away from international travel, but today hit a major milestone. Confirmation expected tomorrow that 90% of residents have received at least 1 dose of vaccine. We're expected to hit that double dose milestone next month, but it could take airlines longer to bounce back.
Ever so close this morning.
89.77% have received at least one dose.
It needled to 90% this afternoon. Now sights are set on the next milestone, 90% double dose.
That is the next big step, of course, for us.
When masks come off, you can travel between states without a PCR test, and international borders will reopen, expected in 3 to 4 weeks, between the 11th to 18th of January. What are most people looking forward to?
Probably travelling, more travel.
Getting the masks and international travel.
Without a firm reopening date for Queensland's international borders, airlines can't plan. Even once we hit 90% double dose, it could take weeks or even months for international flights to be fully reinstated. The first direct Qantas flights out of Brisbane are scheduled in late March to Singapore and LA. It's not just the return of international tourism, but international workers.
To return working holiday visa makers, international students and skilled migrants. We have a desperate staff shortage in tourism and hospitality.
A plan that relies heavily on everyone doing their part.
I'm getting my second one next week.
As thousands more Queenslanders book in to get their booster shot, with one new location to do it, Platform 3 at Roma Street Station. The next stop to COVID freedom. Georgie Chumley, 7 News.
Looking interstate, New South Wales has recorded 3,057 new COVID cases and 2 deaths. There have been 1,245 new infections in Victoria and 6 deaths. Mask wearing isn't being ruled out for the Boxing Day test at the MCG. In South Australia, there are 154 fresh cases there. The state's scrapping testing requirements for interstate arrivals unless they have symptoms. A grieving mother has told 7 News of her heartache and shock at hearing her 2 young children had been killed while she wrapped their Christmas presents. Lucas and Lavinia McCarnu were passengers on a Joy flight with their father Chris and pilot Raymond Watterson when the plane crashed into the water near Redcliffe.
Toy cars on the living room floor and presents under the tree. Catherine de Blasio's home is filled with reminders of her 2 children.
So Betty bought a better, bigger mother.
When you say bye to them, that morning, gave them a kiss, I said, have a lovely day, love you. You never think that that will be the last time you see them.
On Sunday morning, when Lucas, Lavinia and their father Chris went on a surprise Joy flight for Lucas's 9th birthday.
I said, love you, have a good day, have fun. And Lucas turned back and said, love you too, Mom, bye.
Catherine was still wrapping presents when she realised they were late. Then came a knock on the door.
Instead of seeing my kids, I saw 3 detectives. And for about 15 minutes, I had no reaction. I just couldn't believe it.
Catherine and the McCarnu family, along with the family of pilot Robert Watterson, may have to wait up to 2 months to get answers as to why the plane crashed shortly after takeoff on Sunday morning. Until then, Catherine is left with memories of her bright little boy Lucas.
He was very caring, very energetic, competitive, with his mates. He loved playing soccer.
While Lavinia managed to always make everyone laugh.
How much money does Jada have? Jada broke.
Our Facebook page has details of a GoFundMe to help raise money for funeral costs. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
The Prime Minister has conceded the Omicron variant has delayed the final phase of Australia's national reopening plan. In an exclusive interview with 7 News, Scott Morrison says premiers will need to keep some COVID measures in place as he wraps up a pre-Christmas campaign visit to Brisbane.
Oh, how are you?
With little nippers in Brisbane.
Do you think Santa might bring you a tooth?
Scott Morrison reminds Australians to be sun-safe this summer.
You got your hat?
And remain COVID-safe.
People should go and get their boosters.
Despite Australia having one of the highest vaccination rates in the world, the Prime Minister has warned the Omicron variant is delaying Australia's reopening plan.
It's in the majority of states now, and so that means it will increase the case numbers in those places.
In an exclusive sit-down interview with 7 News, Scott Morrison says states with high case numbers should keep some low-level COVID restrictions.
Now, of course, you're going to calibrate some of the public health social measures that are in place.
Including,
where appropriate, wearing masks indoors, things like that when you're in those sort of high-risk situations.
But he says lockdowns are still off the table.
There's nothing before us which is suggesting that.
And he's confident Australians will be living more freely in 2022.
I believe they will, but it's a matter of ensuring that we're treating Australians as adults.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison will convene a meeting of the National Cabinet in Canberra tomorrow. He'll urge premiers to keep calm and not shut their borders as thousands of Australians grow increasingly nervous about travelling over Christmas.
What's important is we just keep going forward. We're living with it.
The Prime Minister is also taking advice about whether to reclassify what it means to be fully vaccinated from 2 doses to 3.
That'll be looked at by the medical experts, as it always is. These are questions that are regularly reviewed.
Spreading Christmas cheer to those less fortunate. That's right. And hoping for a better New Year. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
Tech giants risk huge fines if they fail to ban harmful online content under new laws from next month. As complaints soar, Australia's e-Safety Commissioner is being given new powers to tackle material, including terrorism and child abuse, on search engines like Google. They could be fined more than $500,000 for each breach. The new laws will also apply to apps on mobile phones. A coroner has praised the witnesses who tried to save Home and Away actress Jessica Folkholt and 3 family members when their car was hit on a New South Wales highway. The driver of the other car was on an alarming cocktail of prescription drugs.
It was a Boxing Day inferno which killed a mother and father instantly and over the following weeks killed each of their daughters slowly. Lars, Vivian, Jessica and Annabelle Folkholt were gentle souls who were extremely close-knit and devoted to each other. They were wiped out by Craig Whittle's Toyota Prado, which failed to negotiate a bend on the Princes Highway Conjola in 2017. Whittle was also killed on impact, a chronic drug addict whose toxicology reports returned such a high level of the antidepressant Deptrin it would kill most people. That day, indirectly, it killed 5.
One expert testified Whittle might even have been hallucinating behind the wheel. Earlier that morning, he had been prescribed 4 Valium pills, having lied about running out of methadone. The inquest heard of a history of doctor shopping, travelling between GPs and hospitals to feed his addiction.
No single doctor was aware of the extent of the prescribing by other doctors. An alert should have been triggered at hospital, but a junior clinician did not know that. What is the point of an alert system if staff don't know how to use it? This is something that the Illawarra Shoalhaven Local Health District should consider. Jessica Folkholt had starred on Home and Away.
And I want you to know I completely forgive you for going behind my back and talking to Justin.
Her career was only just starting to bloom. The coroner expressed sympathies to her family, to the Whittles, and to the drivers who raced from their cars that day to risk their own lives to save others. Robert Avadia, 7 News.
A man accused of a one-punch attack in Surfers Paradise has been granted bail. Oshay Tuiasau was released from the Southport Watch House this afternoon. Police allege the 26-year-old punched another man early on Sunday morning in the centre of the tourist strip. The 39-year-old victim suffered a severe traumatic brain injury and remains in a critical condition in hospital. The Queen has cancelled her traditional Christmas at Sandringham as COVID cases continue to rise in the UK. Harsher restrictions could be brought in across the country before the weekend.
Britain's free to carry on with Christmas plans for now. Boris Johnson held an urgent cabinet meeting to discuss new COVID restrictions. But despite another huge day of cases, 91,000, he refused to outline if and when new rules will be brought in, wanting to wait for more Omicron data.
In view of the balance of risks and uncertainty, unfortunately, I must say to people, we will have to reserve the possibility of taking further action.
What we want, what the public want, is a Prime Minister with a plan and with a grip.
At Downing Street, more awkward accusations. The Prime Minister insists the garden drinks snapped here during May's lockdown were within the rules.
Those were people at work talking about work.
Willing to make a decision, the Queen has cancelled her traditional trip to Sandringham, deciding to spend Christmas at Windsor Castle instead for the second year in a row.
Well, she can see what is happening all around her. She can see what's happening in the country. We're told the Queen will still get some family members seeing her at Windsor Castle. We're not told which members or where they will be.
Whether Britons need to change their guest lists, that's yet to be decided. In London, Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
Police need public help to track down whoever stole $1 million worth of silver while in transit from Sydney to Melbourne. Investigators want people to report anyone trying to sell large volumes of the precious metal after almost 200 bars of bullion disappeared.
On the highway heading out of Sydney, thieves target a truck hauling a tonne of precious silver.
It's certainly unusual. Luckily we don't see much of it.
It reads like a movie script. A consignment of bullion vanishes into thin air. The real-life heist happened on a shipment of silver leaving Sydney last month. 192 bars worth $1 million was loaded onto a Kenworth truck that left Malden on November 26. It stopped at a number of regional towns in New South Wales and Victoria before arriving in Melbourne 3 days later. By then, the valuable cargo was gone. Where it was taken and by whom is still a mystery.
Certainly a line of inquiry that we're looking at is people have inside knowledge as to this consignment of silver and it being transported between Sydney and Melbourne.
The major freight company and its driver are cooperating with police. Investigators looking into who else knew the route and schedule. The price of silver has skyrocketed globally since COVID hit. These bars are stamped, but questions are now being asked over why such high-value cargo wasn't being transported in a secure vehicle.
The security arrangements around transporting of that silver is not a matter for us. It's certainly concerning.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
Time for the weather now, and Tony, some more blue sky across the southeast.
Yes, Katrina, only broken up by some wispy high-level cloud here and there, but it hasn't brought any rain. It's been hot. Greenbank pushing up to 36 degrees after an overnight minimum of 19. A few 35s, including Logan, while the Redlands coast was the place to cool down on just 29 degrees. Staying hot tomorrow before some rain returns. Katrina, I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thanks, Tony. Now, this is a rescue that will give you goosebumps. The baby brothers who flew away in a bathtub during Kentucky's tornado. We have video of the moment they were found. Children injured in another inflatable castle accident. Why Trump supporters booed the former president during a rally. And help from the sky. Seeds being dropped to restore koala habitat near Ipswich and Toowoomba. An Edmonton teenager is the latest victim of a deadly Far North swimming hole. The 19-year-old slipped and fell while visiting Babinda Boulders with friends yesterday. Her body was discovered by rescue crews this morning.
It's just another tragedy, and at Christmas time, people are not going to forget it.
Known as the Devil's Pool, 20 people have died there in the past 50 years. Well, this is one of the most incredible escapes from America's recent tornado disaster. 2 baby boys were wrapped up in a bathtub when the storm tore their house apart and sent the bath flying away in the dark. You're about to see the astonishing moment they were found alive.
Missing.
Yeah, if you can hear me.
In the dizzying minutes.
We're looking for a 15 months old.
After this month's tornado pounded Barnsley, Kentucky.
In the bathtub.
2 babies, one 15 months old.
Hey, baby.
His brother, 3 months.
Hey, baby.
Hey, oh my God. Oh,
Rescuers pulled the brothers from a broken bathtub.
Got 2 infant kids. Got them out of a bathtub.
The same tub their grandmother had laid them in with a Bible as her house began to shudder.
Next thing I knew, the tub had lifted and it was out of my hands. I couldn't hold on. Oh my God.
The storm took the house, the bathtub, the children.
I was looking everywhere to see where the tub may be. I had no clue at all where these babies was. All I could say is, Lord, please bring my babies back to me safely.
Both of them are okay, man.
Oh, praise God, Lord Jesus. I love you. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
One hammered home in a storm path stretched across 5 states.
This is my bathroom. This is where the tub was.
The current death toll, 91. It so nearly included these two.
But I just thank God that everybody was safe.
Unaware just yet how special they are. Hell threw its worst at them, and they rode through it in a bathtub. In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
Just days after 6 children were killed in Tasmania, another 6 have been injured in China when their inflatable castle flipped in strong winds. Adults are seen trying in vain to pin it down before it eventually settled. In this case, the jumping castle appears to have been set up in an open area, untethered. The fate of accused sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell rests with a New York jury which has begun its deliberations. Prosecutors argue the 59-year-old helped pedophile Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. Defence lawyers claim she's being used as a scapegoat for the crimes of her former boyfriend. While on tour with former Fox News host Bill O'Reilly, Donald Trump has revealed he's received a COVID booster shot, much to the dismay of some people in the audience.
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so...
Don't. That's all. There's a very tiny group over there.
Trump warned supporters who dismiss the vaccine are, quote, playing right into their hands. Should you cancel your upcoming holiday or risk it? Next, holidaymakers spooked by the Omicron rise and the fear of getting stranded. His 3-year-old girl died after being left in a hot car, the Queensland dad on a mission to save other children. How alcohol and tattoos can increase your risk of skin cancer. And why you shouldn't sign up to loyalty reward schemes. It's the jingle that taught Australia about sun safety. Now Slip, Slop, Slap is getting a reboot in a bid to prevent the most common cancer in the country. The campaign coming as researchers make a concerning discovery.
An Aussie anthem in the 80s. Slip, slop, slap. Sid the Seagull helped teach millions of children about sun safety, soon to be succeeded by Jimmy and Fido. They'll feature in ads rolling out this summer as part of a new $20 million SunSmart campaign.
We're here today with a very simple message as we go into this summer period. To slip, slop, slap, seek and slide.
Seek shade and slide on sunnies. Melanoma rates are falling in Australians under 40, but a recent Cancer Council survey found more than a quarter of Australians don't use skin protection in summer as part of their daily routine.
So normally I'd put sunscreen on my face. Not so good about the rest of my body.
If you don't have your hat, you just have to sit in the shade.
Yeah. Every time the UV index is 3 or above in your local area, we encourage all Australians to slip, slop, slap, seek and slide.
Today in most capital cities, the maximum was 11 or 12.
So you have to put on lots of sunscreen today.
The new campaign comes as new research shows drinking alcohol accelerates sunburn and people who drink are more prone to skin cancer. Tattoos also posing an additional risk.
2 in 3 Australians will be touched by skin cancer by the time they're 70.
And prevention is better than a cure. Rosanna Kingson, 7 News.
While unrestricted international travel is weeks away, trepidation remains in the community when it comes to making those travel plans. Summer holiday bookings are being cancelled or reconsidered amid the uncertainty of Omicron.
When the weather's this good, it deserves to be enjoyed by thousands of visitors, but the spread of Omicron is spooking would-be holidaymakers to the Sunshine State.
People are just reluctant to travel because of issues to do with borders and uncertainty.
Queensland holiday hotspots like the far north are already bearing the brunt of the reluctance. Cairns hotel operators Crystal Brook Collection have now lost 10% of bookings for the festive period.
We have seen some cancellations come through sort of in the last 3 to 4 days, but as cases rise, that consumer confidence again is taking a little bit of a battering.
Tourism industry experts say 4 out of 5 Australians are either cancelling or reconsidering their summer holiday travel plans. Other destinations, though, are bucking the trend.
The Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast, places like that are going to continue to see strong bookings.
Coast hotels say guests desperate for a break are willing to take the risk.
People are wanting to get away on holidays.
Looking at flights and just the huge worry is not being able to come back to Australia.
Wavell Heights mum Chantel Jellicoe putting her plans to travel to Switzerland on the back burner.
I had to cancel it, so hopefully mid-next year.
These newlyweds from New South Wales couldn't wait that long.
Get on a plane and then, when we came through to a hotel, it was really nice.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't been able to do that for a
Ages.
very long time.
Fingers crossed we won't ever have to wait that long again. Sally Guide, 7 News.
The death toll from a typhoon in the Philippines has surged to more than 370. Super Typhoon Rai hit the country's southeast, packing wind gusts of nearly 200 kilometres an hour. The storm has devastated communities, knocking out power to entire islands. More than 300,000 people have been evacuated from their homes. The father of a little girl left to die in a hot car is using the tragedy to drive change to prevent future heartache for other families. The campaign also coincides with fresh warnings from authorities to prevent children or pets being locked in.
Riley Rose Black was a bright, bubbly and cheeky little girl.
She's full of life.
But in November last year, Riley's life came to a tragic end after allegedly being left by her mother to die in a hot car.
I have dreams of her in the car and how she must have struggled to get someone's attention.
Riley's father is now on a mission, setting up a parliamentary petition to make it mandatory for all new cars to have warning systems that detect kids if they're left alone.
People can be alerted that there's a child or even a pet left inside that vehicle.
Road safety experts are also pleading with motorists to take an extra second this festive season to check where their car keys are. Even on an average day inside a hot car, temperatures can reach up to 50 degrees.
Mum might have a couple of bags of groceries and juggling a baby on her hip and trying to get bags in the car, and inadvertently keys are locked in the car.
1,488 children and pets were rescued from locked cars in New South Wales in the past year. In Queensland, there was a whopping 1,885 rescues, totalling around 5,000 Australia-wide.
We expect that number to sadly grow.
The vast majority of the calls that we get are accidental.
Accidents which Peter Black believes can be prevented entirely if the federal government listens.
No child should go through what my daughter went through.
Matthew Carstunen, 7 News.
A rethink is coming on heart surgery rehab, the activity patients are being encouraged to do earlier. The water main gushing for hours, wasting millions of litres of water. An Aussie rocker left bloodied after a weekend booze cruise with Sam Newman. And the final hurrah, Emma Wiggles' last day in yellow, leaving a promise to her fans. To finance and the Aussie market staged a comeback this afternoon with the ASX 200 lifting by 0.8%. Healthcare and energy gained, rebounding from a sharp drop on Monday, while technology stocks were flat. CSL was up $13.45 to just over $287. Origin Energy also rose to just over $5, and Afterpay continued its slide down another 89 cents. The Aussie dollar is buying 71 US cents. Brisbane MP Andrew Laming is in more hot water. The Australian Electoral Commission has launched court proceedings over unauthorised Facebook posts. They were in the lead-up to the 2019 federal election. The member for Bowman will retire next year. Open heart surgery patients are being encouraged to undertake light exercise just 2 weeks after their operation. Researchers say their trial could help patients get their lives back to normal more quickly.
Jeff Barker had open heart surgery, but instead of taking it easy, he hit the gym.
You've had heart surgery, you've got a new engine, it's really important to start using it.
A Melbourne research team is proving heart surgery rehab needs a rethink.
It's just been the standard thinking that you shouldn't do much with your arms because you might move the sternum too much and that impairs healing. What we've shown, in fact, that doesn't occur.
In fact, the resistance training program has even fast-tracked recovery.
Their cognition came back earlier, so they could partake in family events, they could go back to work, they could drive earlier because they could have an earlier start to exercise.
Jeff completed 2 sessions a week with an ultrasound zeroed in on his sternum.
There's no movement occurring through the bone there, which means that it's healed up nicely after your surgery.
To get a better idea of just how incredible Jeff's recovery is, we were invited into the theatre room to see how much open heart surgery patients go through.
We're going to do coronary bypass surgery and an aortic valve replacement, so it's quite a big operation, kind of 2 into 1.
This sort of surgery is no easy feat. Usually it takes between 3 to 4 hours to complete, so it's no surprise it takes a big toll on the body, and often patients are on light duties for up to 12 weeks. But because of this research, some are back into the gym after just 2.
Maybe exercise is the new wonder drug for patients, particularly in recovering from major surgery.
Nathan Curry, 7 News.
Sometimes there's nothing more you can do but grab your phone and film. That was the case outside this Sydney home after a water main burst just after midday. And it lasted for hours. Although some of the locals weren't fazed, the property didn't suffer any damage. A day out on Sam Newman's yacht has left rock star Brian Mannix bruised and bloodied. Also on board for the Christmas booze cruise, footy star Warwick Capper, former player agent Ricky Nixon and aerobics champion Sue Stanley.
Everybody wants to work. No, no, not me. Everybody wants to work. No, no, not me. Not caps.
The uncanny X-Men singer insists he wasn't drunk and it just got really rocky. For around a decade, she's broken ground as the first female wiggle. Now Emma Watkins is hanging up her famous yellow bow. Today, her pint-sized fans were given one last chance to meet their ballet dancing idol.
It's not quite the goodbye anyone imagined. At Auburn Harvey Norman, Emma Watkins wore her yellow skivvy and bow for the final time.
It is bittersweet. I've had a few tears over the last week.
For her biggest fans, saying farewell was tough. There were more tears, others lost for words.
Are you excited to see Emma?
But most just wanted to wiggle. And after the big meeting, there was only one word to sum it up.
Portia, how was it?
Good. Older fans also got a chance to say thanks for the past 11 years entertaining and educating children.
For any fans who missed this final meet and greet, Emma says they can write her a letter to say a final goodbye, and she'll even write back.
Emma will now focus on her PhD, working on bringing together dance and sign language.
I have an extension to try and finish it over next year, and then who knows what's going to happen after that research.
But there's one more special performance she filmed earlier this week. Carols in the Domain, Thursday night on 7.
It's probably the most amount of wiggles we've had on stage ever, so please enjoy.
A final curtain call on a colourful Wiggles career. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
And Wiggles fans locally will get their first chance to see the new group on stage. The Wiggles' new lineup will perform at Dreamworld on January 12. The concerts will mark the theme park's 40th anniversary and the group's 30th. Both shows are free, but only for Dreamworld ticket holders. Drones are delivering all sorts of things. Now they're being used to deliver new homes for koalas in Ipswich and Toowoomba, restoring habitat lost in the Black Summer bushfires. That exclusive story is just ahead on 7 News. And Ben, the Aussies are delivering Ashes advice.
Yeah, to the Poms, Katrina. G'day everyone. 2-0 up in the series. Steve Smith feels for Joe Root. But Australia have their own issues, injury concerns as reinforcements are called for Boxing Day. And these former league stars about to fight or kiss? The comical face-off ahead of footy's Christmas bash. Joe Root and England now look so forlorn in the Ashes series, even Stephen Smith sounds sympathetic. Australia head into Boxing Day after clinching a 275-run win and a 2-0 lead in Adelaide last night, while Root's fighting to save the series and maybe his captaincy.
A quick trip home to Sydney before re-entering the bubble for Boxing Day. Steve Smith relished his return as captain, but will hand the reins back to Pat Cummins.
Brought back some old memories in a way, I guess. I had fun out there, but you know, it's Paddy's team.
Smith proved he's still a master tactician. Joe Root saying all the right things, but a bowling attack boasting thousands of wickets either isn't capable or not interested in following his instruction to bowl full.
So that's one of the frustrating things, because it's something that we did 4 years ago and we got it wrong and we didn't learn from it.
No balls, drop catches, Root can't do much about those. He's outscored their next best batsman by 1,100 runs this year, but few things break English captains like tours to Australia.
No, I expect them to. You've got 3 games here, 3 massive games with the Ashes on the line now.
The Aussies seem so unthreatened, there's no animosity at all, and even friendly advice for their rival skipper.
Trust yourself, back yourself, and do everything you can to, help your team grow and be as successful as you can be.
Jai Richardson ended Joss Buttler's 207-ball resistance to break England last night.
It's hit the stumps!
His 5-wicket haul gives the Aussies further options for Melbourne after Mitchell Starc carried the load as leader of the attack and may be next in line for the paceman's dreaded word, rotation.
The beauty of Australian cricket at the moment is we've got fast bowling stocks for days. I think that's a wonderful problem for the selectors and JL to have.
With Stark's back a slight concern, they've added Victorian quick Scott Boland to the squad. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
The heater in Adelaide tonight without English import Tom Abel, gone for a month with a knee injury. As they prepare for the Strikers Thursday, everyone in the Big Bash is trying to catch the Scorchers. Last night they torched the Hurricanes in Hobart after Curtis Patterson's rapid-fire half-century off 26 balls. Shut out of Perth for the rest of the season, the Road Warriors won by 42 runs. AJ Ties, 3 for 19, saw him become the first player to snare 100 wickets for one club.
Huge breakthrough as AJ Tye continues to have a great tournament.
Tonight, Rashid Khan's Strikers are batting first against the Sixers. The Big Bash straight after the news here on 7. Well, the Australian Open's on the verge of losing yet another of its headline acts, with Rafael Nadal testing positive to COVID. The 20-time Grand Slam champ made his comeback from a foot injury at an exhibition tournament in Abu Dhabi where he contracted the virus. Recovering at home, Nadal says he's had some unpleasant moments since becoming sick. He's short odds to join Roger Federer and Serena Williams as Melbourne Park no-shows, while Novak Djokovic is in limbo. The Dolphins' first major signing has opened up to 7 News on how he's trying to lure current teammates up north. While Felice Kafusi's strike rate isn't promising, he's got a fellow Maroon squarely in his sights.
Mr. and Mrs. Claus have been spotted south of the Murray. But there's one Christmas wish Felice Kafusi would love to deliver to Dolphins.
I've been trying to, twist a couple of arms, but, I would have liked to have Walsh up there. I guess I ain't doing a good enough job.
Kafusi holding out hope for one teammate.
I would love Harry. I'll take Harry. Trippy's not here, is he?
I think the Dolphins have been linked to a lot of players, and I don't think there's much money there left with Felice Kafusi signing for a few years, so I think he's taken it all.
Cameron Munster missed training, and for good reason. He and partner Bianca welcomed their first mini Munster, Jackson. Tomorrow night, footy's Christmas bash. Justin Hodges and Nathan Ross unofficially declared the most cringeworthy face-off in what almost ended in an accidental kiss. The Cards headlined by Paul Gallen and Darcy Lussick. Back home, new Bullets coach James Duncan brings insider training from his time as the Kings assistant, where he used to study Brisbane's weaknesses. JD wants more buy-in and more defence.
Fellas, here it is. Here's the video, here's the stats. We do this more often, we're going to have more success.
Safe to say, Dang Dang's recovered from that headbutt, but Vic Law's downgrade to a fine was questioned by the club.
It's understandable. We accept it. That's how it is. And we just moved on.
To Boxing Day and their Cairns derby. At the same time, a first for the Sydney Hobart fleet, 2-person crews in double-handers. But one positive test could scuttle their race.
We've tried to
hold back our arrival into Sydney for the COVID reason. But now that we're here, we're just going to keep to ourselves.
For context, the Super Maxis can have up to 24 crew members. Katie Brown, 7 News.
From on the water to in it, Australian cliff diving daredevil round, and Iflans finished the year undefeated, this time in Abu Dhabi at the 20-metre world title qualifier.
8.5, 9, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, and another 9.
Makes it look so easy. The victory qualifies the 30-year-old for next year's FINA World Champs in Japan, where she'll be hunting a three-peat. The Big Bash is next. Katrina, strap yourself in.
Thank you, Ben. Well, Queenslanders are being urged to resist the temptation to sign up to new loyalty schemes while Christmas shopping. 90% of Australians belong to at least one loyalty program, but Choice says many customers don't realise their personal data is shared with insurance companies or data brokers. Now let's take a look at what's on Sunrise tomorrow.
Tomorrow on Sunrise, staying healthy during the holidays. Christmas feast that won't ruin your diet.
From naughty to nice, the food swaps to slash calories.
Plus, we'll keep you up to date with Queensland's live and local news. See you in the morning.
They've struggled since the Black Summer bushfires. Next, how drones are helping the southeast koalas create a love corridor.
And at the moment, it's 29 degrees in Ipswich. Some rain on the way. I'll have the forecast coming up next.
Drones already deliver pizza and presents. Now they're being used to grow new homes for koalas. Seeds are being dropped from above in Ipswich and Toowoomba to restore land scorched during the Black Summer bushfires.
For millions of years, koalas like Miriam have grazed at Old Hidden Vale Station. Her future is being grown by drones, which can scatter 700 kilograms of seed a day.
This is a mix of all kinds of species, from the trees to the shrubs to the grasses, so that we build back an entire ecosystem.
In this Australia First federally funded $18 million trial, WWF is dropping 40 native species.
We call blue gum koala caviar.
Land has been cleared of grass, the soil turned, then it's over to tech, seeding guided by artificial intelligence. This 5 hectares near Grantchester could become a koala highway, a love corridor connecting colonies in habitat scorched by fire.
We have numerous sightings of koalas since then, and what we can anecdotally say is that they are growing in number again.
Black Summer raised land twice the size of Tasmania. Drones could accelerate restoration, especially in remote Australia.
What a great partnership this is with WWF.
They'll use drones to check seeding has created seedlings to help salvage a species. Erin Edwards, 7 News.
Weather now, and Tony, it was a colourful start to the day.
Yes, Katrina, some reward for anyone up before the sun. This high-level cirrus cloud helped provide a splash of colour. Big thanks to Jason Cassidy for being one of those early risers and sending in this photo from Moffat Beach on the Sunshine Coast. Now, through the day, mostly sunny and hot amongst more patches of high-level cloud. 20 up to 30 degrees on the Sunshine Coast. Greenbank was hottest on 36. Now, to the radar, isolated storms stretching from the granite belt along our southern border here to a larger line which stretches from the west up towards the Gulf. A severe thunderstorm warning is current for damaging winds for areas south and west of Longreach. Now, into tomorrow, more storms over southern Queensland ahead of an inland trough here, but this time, well, the focus moves a bit further east, stretching from the Darling Downs up into central districts. Around the capitals tomorrow, Darwin could see a storm, then dry elsewhere. A sunny 32 in Perth and a cloudy 18 in Hobart. Back to northern Queensland, storms up around Weipa and the Peninsula. Mount Isa in for a scorcher, 40 degrees and plenty of blue sky on the east coast. Heading south, storms possible for Roma and down towards Toowoomba and Stanthorpe, with severe cells a good chance over the central Darling Downs. Hot and sunny further east, 34 in Gympie, a top of 33 degrees in Maryborough. Now, across the southeast tomorrow, staying hot and mostly sunny through the day, maybe a little bit of cloud late afternoon, and very isolated storm possible well inland and for the southern ranges, but it should stay there. Staying hot, Ferny Grove and Mount Gravatt up around 32 degrees, 30s along the Bayside. Boaties light north-northwest winds on Moreton Bay early. They'll swing northeast into the afternoon and high tide just before 11:30am at the Brisbane Bar. So in the River City, a mostly sunny Wednesday on the way, 21 up to 32 degrees, and tomorrow is the longest day of the year, also called the summer solstice. Into Thursday, a dry morning before a couple of showers and possible storm into the afternoon. That increases to more frequent showers on Friday. In Ipswich, those showers easing back slightly on Christmas Day, Saturday. Still a mix of dry breaks, but still some rain in there. Gold Coasters, also a couple of showers for Christmas, and similar on Sunday. Tops dropping back into the high 20s, 29 on Saturday, 27 on a Sunday. And onto the Sunshine Coast, a shower or two on Christmas Day, but wet weather is likely to pick up again around next Monday and Tuesday as the rain keeps coming, tops of 26 degrees. So it might be worth keeping a couple of indoor activities up your sleeve for Christmas Day.
Great advice. Thanks, Tony. That is all from us this Tuesday. Thanks so much for your company. Don't forget live and local news in the morning with Bianca Stone on Sunrise. From all the team, have a great night.